The ultimatum. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council buzzed with nervous energy as delegates from 1,000 worlds shifted in their seats. The air was thick with tension, alien pheromones mixing in a cocktail of anxiety and curiosity. At the center of it all stood Ambassador Elena Reyes, the sole human representative, her face a mask of determination. High Counselor Zixnath, a towering insectoid being, clicked its mandibles impatiently. Human Ambassador, you have called this emergency session. Speak your piece. Elena took a deep breath, her eyes sweeping across the chamber. Beings of all shapes and sizes stared back at her, some with multiple eyes, others with none at all. She straightened her back, her voice clear and unwavering as she began. Esteemed members of the Galactic Council, I come before you today not as a supplicant, but as a herald of change. For too long, humanity has endured your condescension, your exploitation, and your thinly veiled threats. We came to you in peace, offering friendship and cooperation. In return, you saw fit to treat us as children, unworthy of a place among the stars. A murmur rippled through the chamber. The Vixillian representative, a being of pure energy contained within a crystalline structure, pulsed with indignation. You dare accuse this august body of? I dare, Elena interrupted, her voice sharp enough to cut through the rising chatter. I dare because the facts speak for themselves. You've stripped our colonies of resources, blockaded our trade routes, and interfered in our internal affairs. You thought us weak, divided, and easily manipulated. You were wrong. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of protests and exclamations. High Counselor Zixnath raised all four of its arms, calling for order. When the noise subsided, it turned its compound eyes on Elena. These are serious allegations, Ambassador Reyes. What exactly does Earth hope to achieve with this outburst? Elena's expression remained resolute. This is not a negotiation, High Counselor. This is an ultimatum. Humanity demands immediate recognition as a sovereign power, with all the rights and privileges thereof. We demand the immediate withdrawal of all Galactic Council forces from human-controlled space. We demand the lifting of all sanctions and trade restrictions imposed upon us. Laughter echoed through the chamber, a discordant symphony of alien amusement. The Drogorian delegate, a massive reptilian creature, leaned forward, its scales shimmering under the chamber's lights. And if we refuse, little human, what then? Elena's eyes narrowed, a dangerous glint in them that made even the most battle-hardened delegates shift uncomfortably. Then your worlds will burn. The laughter died instantly, replaced by stunned silence. Elena continued, her voice filled with cold determination. For decades, you've underestimated us. You've seen our peaceful overtures as weakness, our diplomacy as naivety. But in your arrogance, you failed to see what we were becoming. With a gesture, Elena activated a holographic display. Images flickered to life around the chamber, showing weapons and technologies that made even the most advanced races gasp in shock. Antimatter bombs capable of reducing planets to asteroid fields, Elena explained, her voice devoid of emotion. Nanite swarms that can strip entire civilizations of their technology in hours. Wormhole destabilizers that can cut off your precious hyperlanes. The Archean Patriarch, oldest and wisest of the council members, rose from his seat, his tendrils writhing in agitation. This is madness, Ambassador Reyes. You speak of galactic war, of destruction on an unimaginable scale. No, Elena countered, her composure cracking for the first time, revealing the deep well of anger beneath. Madness was thinking you could keep humanity shackled forever. Madness was believing we would accept being treated as second-class citizens of the galaxy. We tried peace. We extended our hands in friendship, and you slapped them away. Now we extend our fists, and you will learn to respect them. She deactivated the holographic display, the terrifying images vanishing as quickly as they had appeared. You have one standard galactic week to meet our demands. Withdraw your forces, lift your sanctions, recognize our sovereignty. If these terms are not met, we will consider it an act of war." The chamber exploded into chaos. Delegates shouted, some in anger, others in fear. A few of the more militant races called for immediate action against Earth, while others pleaded for calm and negotiation. Through it all, Elena stood unmoved, a pillar of human determination amidst the alien storm. High Counselor Zixnath, its exoskeleton pale with shock, managed to raise its voice above the din. "And if we refuse? If we unite against you?" Elena turned to leave, pausing at the chamber's massive doors. She looked back over her shoulder, her eyes burning with an intensity that made even the bravest delegates flinch. "Then your worlds will burn, just as I promised. And from the ashes, humanity will rise to claim its rightful place among the stars." With that, she exited, leaving behind a stunned silence that seemed to stretch across the galaxy itself. As the doors closed behind her, Elena allowed herself a grim smile. The die was cast. Whether the Council believed her bluff or not, humanity's fate now rested on a knife's edge. She touched the communicator on her wrist, speaking softly but firmly. "This is Ambassador Reyes. The message has been delivered. Initiate Operation Prometheus." Across the vast expanse of space, on hidden bases and secret shipyards, humanity's true strength stirred to life. The Galactic Council had 1 week to decide the fate of 1,000 worlds. The clock was ticking, and the stars themselves held their breath. As Elena's ship broke orbit, leaving the Council world behind, she gazed out at the glittering expanse of the galaxy. For better or worse, everything would change now. Humanity had hidden in the shadows for too long, biding its time, building its strength. Now, they would show the galaxy what they were truly capable of. The ship's captain approached, his face a mixture of awe and concern. "Ambassador, do you really think they'll back down?" Elena's eyes remained fixed on the stars. "It doesn't matter, Captain. Either way, the galaxy will never be the same again." She turned to him, her expression softening slightly. "We've done our part. Now it's up to the rest of humanity to prove that we're ready for what comes next." As the ship jumped to hyperspace, Elena couldn't help but wonder what the coming days would bring. War or peace, victory or defeat, humanity's future hung in the balance. But one thing was certain: they would face it head-on, with all the courage, ingenuity, and determination that had defined their species since they first looked up at the stars and dreamed of reaching them. The ultimatum had been delivered. Now, the real challenge began. Preparations for war. The massive underground complex beneath the Rocky Mountains hummed with activity. Deep within the heart of Earth's most secure military installation, Operation Prometheus was shifting into high gear. General Marcus Chen, Supreme Commander of Earth's Defense Forces, stood before a holographic display of the solar system, his weathered face illuminated by the soft blue glow. "Status report," he barked, his eyes never leaving the swirling mass of data points representing Earth's hidden fleet. Colonel Amelia Harper, his second-in-command, stepped forward. "Sir, all systems are go. The Lazarus Protocol has been initiated across all colonies. Our stealth fields are holding, and the Council's long-range sensors remain blind to our true capabilities." Chen nodded, a grim smile playing at the corners of his mouth. "And our special projects?" Harper tapped a series of commands into her datapad. The holographic display shifted, zooming in on a massive structure hidden in the asteroid belt. "Project Mjolnir is ahead of schedule. The gravity lance will be operational within 48 hours. "Excellent," Chen murmured. "And the Phantom Fleet?" "All ships accounted for and awaiting deployment orders. The phase shift drives have been successfully tested. We can hit any target in Council space without detection." As they discussed the final preparations, a young lieutenant burst into the command center, his face pale. "General Chen, we're receiving an emergency transmission from Ambassador Reyes." Chen's eyes narrowed. "Put her through." The holographic display flickered, replaced by the image of Elena Reyes. Her normally composed features were etched with concern. "General, The Council is mobilizing. Our deep cover agents report massive fleet movements across all major species. They're not backing down. Shen exchanged a glance with Harper. We expected as much, Ambassador. Are you secure? Elena nodded. I'm aboard the Nighthawk, cloaked and on course for Rendezvous Point Alpha. But there's more. The Arctians are pushing for immediate action against Earth. They're calling for a preemptive strike. Damn, Chen muttered. He turned to Harper. Colonel, initiate Phase 2. I want all orbital defenses at full readiness. And send word to Admiral Takashi. The Phantom Fleet is to deploy immediately. As Harper rushed to carry out his orders, Chen returned his attention to Elena. Ambassador, you've done your part. It's time for us to do ours. Return to Earth. We'll need your diplomatic skills in the days to come. Elena's hologram nodded solemnly. Understood, General. Good luck. Rides out. As her image faded, Chen turned to address the bustling command center. Ladies and gentlemen, the moment we've prepared for is upon us. For decades, we've hidden our true strength, allowing the Council to believe us weak and primitive. That ends today. He gestured to the holographic display, which now showed a real-time map of Council space. Make no mistake, we are outnumbered, and in many ways, outgunned. But we have surprise on our side, and technologies they can't even imagine. The room fell silent as Chen continued, his voice filled with steel. Each of you knows your role. Each of you understands the stakes. We are fighting not just for our freedom, but for our very existence as a species. The Council would see us subjugated, our potential shackled. We will show them the true strength of humanity. As if on cue, alarms began to blare throughout the complex. A voice rang out over the intercom. Multiple hyperspace signatures detected. Council fleet incoming. Chen's eyes blazed with determination. And so it begins. To your stations, all of you. Let's remind the galaxy why they should have never underestimated Earth. As the command center erupted into controlled chaos, Chen turned back to the holographic display. The countdown to humanity's greatest test had begun. Across the solar system, hidden shipyards sprang to life. Vessels that defied conventional physics emerged from their secret berths, their hulls shimmering with adaptive camouflage. In underground bases on a dozen worlds, soldiers donned exosuits that blurred the line between man and machine. On Mars, deep beneath the red sands, Dr. Yuki Tanaka made the final adjustments to the quantum entanglement array. This revolutionary communication system would allow Earth's forces to coordinate instantly across vast distances, immune to jamming or interception. Dr. Tanaka, her AI assistant, chimed. The Council fleet will be within range of Earth in approximately 6 hours. Yuki nodded, her fingers flying over the controls. Initiate the final test sequence. We need to be certain it works flawlessly. As the array hummed to life, Yuki couldn't help but marvel at how far humanity had come. The very technologies that the Council had tried to keep from them had become their greatest weapons. Meanwhile, in a secret facility orbiting Jupiter, Admiral Zara Takashi addressed the crew of the flagship Defiance. The massive vessel, nearly 5 kilometers long, represented the pinnacle of human engineering and reverse-engineered alien tech. For years, we've trained in secret. Takashi's voice rang out across the ship's intercom. We've pushed the boundaries of science and our own bodies. Today, we put it all to the test. She paused, her eyes sweeping across the bridge. The Council thinks they're launching a surprise attack. Little do they know, they're flying into a trap decades in the making. Remember your training. Remember what we're fighting for. Today, we fight not just for Earth, but for every human world, every colony, every outpost. As her words echoed through the ship, the crew felt a surge of pride and determination. They had been chosen for this moment, trained to face an enemy that thought them inferior. Now, they would prove just how wrong the Council had been. Back on Earth, in cities across the globe, civilians hurried into underground shelters. Years of subtle preparation had readied the population for this moment, though few had believed it would ever come. Now, as sirens wailed and emergency broadcasts filled the airwaves, the true nature of humanity's long game was revealed. In orbit, the first line of defense stirred to life. Satellites that had masqueraded as communications relays and scientific instruments shed their disguises, revealing weapon systems far beyond what the Council believed Earth capable of producing. General Chen watched as the pieces fell into place. Every contingency had been planned for, every scenario war-gamed countless times. Yet, as the Council fleet drew ever closer, he felt the weight of uncertainty. "General," Colonel Harper approached, her voice low. "We're receiving reports from our outer system outposts. The Council fleet, it's larger than we anticipated. Much larger." Chen's jaw tightened. "How many?" Harper's eyes met his, filled with a mixture of fear and resolve. "Conservative estimates put it at over 10,000 ships, sir. They've united against us. Every major species in the Council has contributed to this armada." For a moment, the weight of it all threatened to overwhelm Chen. 10,000 ships, crewed by beings who had been traversing the stars when humans were still learning to make fire. The odds were astronomical. But then, Chen remembered why they had chosen this path. He thought of the colonies stripped of resources, of the human scientists denied access to galactic knowledge, of the generations who had grown up knowing their species was seen as little more than clever animals by the galactic community. His resolve hardened. "Then we'll just have to remind them why humanity has survived every challenge it's ever faced, Colonel. Initiate Operation Stormbreaker. Let's show them what we can do." As Chen's orders raced across the quantum entanglement network, humanity's hidden strength revealed itself. All across the solar system, ships of impossible design phased into existence. Weapon platforms that bent the very fabric of space-time powered up. And at the heart of it all, Earth itself seemed to shimmer, as if awakening from a long slumber. The Council fleet, in all its vast numbers and technological superiority, had no idea what awaited them. They came expecting to find a primitive world, ripe for subjugation. Instead, they would face the full, unbridled fury of a species that had spent decades preparing for this very moment. As the first shots were about to be fired, General Chen sent one final message across all human channels. "For Earth, for humanity, for our future among the stars, let them burn." The battle for humanity's place in the galaxy was about to begin. First strike. The vastness of space erupted in a dazzling display of light and energy as the Council's massive fleet dropped out of hyperspace near the orbit of Neptune. 10,000 ships, ranging from nimble fighters to city-sized dreadnoughts, formed up in attack formations. At the helm of the flagship, High Admiral Zexnath of the Arxian Imperium surveyed the holographic display of the Sol system with a mixture of anticipation and disdain. "So this is the homeworld of these upstart humans," Zexnath chittered to his second-in-command. "Primitive, just as our intelligence suggested. Prepare to." His words were cut short as alarms blared across the bridge. The holographic display flickered, showing impossible energy readings throughout the system. "What's happening?" Zexnath demanded, his compound eyes widening in shock. Before anyone could respond, space itself seemed to tear open. Where moments ago there had been nothing but empty void, now hundreds of sleek, angular ships phased into existence. Their hulls shimmered with an otherworldly iridescence, defying traditional sensors. Admiral Zara Takashi's voice crackled across all frequencies, broadcasting to both the human fleet and the stunned Council armada. "Attention, Council forces. This is Admiral Takashi of the Earth Defense Force. You have entered restricted space. Stand down and withdraw immediately, or face the consequences." For a moment, silence reigned. Then, as if shaking off its stupor, the Council fleet surged forward. Energy weapons lanced out, targeting the newly appeared human ships. But the humans were ready. As the energy beams approached, the targeted vessels simply vanished, reappearing instantly kilometers away. It was as if they were dancing between the fabric of space-time itself. All ships, execute Operation Stormbreaker, Takashi commanded, her voice steady and resolute. Across the human fleet, weapon systems unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen powered up. Gravity lances, capable of tearing ships apart at the molecular level. Quantum disruptors that could shut down entire power grids with a single pulse. And at the heart of the fleet, the crowning achievement of human ingenuity, the Mjolnir device. As the Council fleet pressed its attack, seemingly undeterred by the humans' impossible maneuvers, Admiral Takashi gave the order. Activate Mjolnir. Deep in the asteroid belt, the massive structure that had been hidden for years came to life. Energy coursed through its veins, building to a crescendo. Then, with a flash that momentarily outshone the sun, a beam of pure gravitational force lashed out. It struck the heart of the Council formation, engulfing hundreds of ships in its wake. Those caught in the beam's path simply ceased to exist, crushed into singularities by the overwhelming gravitational force. Those on the periphery were sent tumbling, their formations shattered. Aboard the Council flagship, chaos reigned. Zexnath stared in disbelief at the holographic display, watching as a significant portion of his fleet simply winked out of existence. Impossible, he whispered, his mandibles clicking in agitation. How could they have developed such weapons? But the humans weren't done. As the Council fleet reeled from the initial assault, the Earth Defense Force pressed its advantage. Ships equipped with phase shift drives blinked in and out of normal space, appearing within the enemy formation to deliver devastating blows before vanishing again. Quantum torpedoes, guided by AI systems far more advanced than anything the Council possessed, weaved through the chaos with unerring accuracy. Each detonation sent ripples through subspace, disrupting shields and communication systems alike. On Earth, in the underground command center, General Chen watched the battle unfold with grim satisfaction. "Status report," he barked. Colonel Harper's voice was tinged with awe as she responded. "Sir, Operation Stormbreaker is exceeding all expectations. The Council fleet is in disarray. We've destroyed or disabled nearly 30% of their forces, and our casualties are minimal." Chen nodded, but his expression remained tense. "Don't get cocky, Colonel. This is just the opening salvo. Prepare for their counterattack." As if on cue, the Council forces began to rally. Their superior numbers still gave them a significant advantage, and centuries of galactic dominance had not left them unprepared for a fight. Massive carrier ships began deploying swarms of fighter craft, their energy weapons painting space with deadly light. Arxian battlecruisers, renowned across the galaxy for their firepower, began targeting the largest human vessels with concentrated barrages. But for every blow the Council landed, the humans had a countermeasure. Nano-swarm shields absorbed and redirected energy attacks. Quantum predictive algorithms allowed human pilots to anticipate and evade incoming fire with impossible precision. As the battle raged across the solar system, other aspects of humanity's long-prepared plans sprang into action. On a dozen Council worlds, deep-cover human agents activated sleeper cells. Critical infrastructure was sabotaged, communication relays were hijacked, and carefully planted disinformation began to spread. Back in the Sol system, Admiral Takashi's voice rang out once more. "All ships, initiate Phase 2. Deploy the Lazarus Protocol." Across the human fleet, specially designed pods were launched. As they approached damaged or destroyed Council ships, they latched on and began their work. Nanites poured forth, repairing damage and rewriting systems. Within minutes, Council ships began to turn on their own fleet, their crews helpless as their vessels were hijacked by human technology. High Admiral Zexnath watched in horror as his own ships began firing on each other. "What is happening?" he roared, his exoskeleton pale with fury and fear. A junior officer, her tendrils writhing in distress, responded. "Sir, we're detecting some kind of invasive AI. It's rewriting our systems faster than we can purge it. Zexnath's compound eyes narrowed as he came to a grim realization. Send word to all ships. Initiate core meltdowns on any vessel showing signs of infection. We cannot allow the humans to steal our technology. As the order went out, hundreds of council ships began to self-destruct, their crews sacrificing themselves to prevent their technology from falling into human hands. But it was too late. The Lazarus Protocol had already extracted terabytes of data, transmitting it back to Earth via quantum entanglement. Centuries of technological advancement were now in human hands, ready to be analyzed and reverse-engineered. As the battle entered its fifth hour, the tide had definitively turned. The once mighty Council fleet was reduced to less than half its original strength, while the human forces had suffered only minor losses. In the Earth Command Center, General Chen allowed himself a small smile. Send word to Admiral Takashi. Phase 3 is a go. Let's end this. Across the battlefield, human ships began to disengage, falling back towards Earth. The Council fleet, battered and confused, saw an opportunity to press their numerical advantage. It was exactly what the humans had planned for. As the Council ships pursued, they failed to notice the subtle gravitational anomalies forming around them. Too late, they realized the trap they had flown into. With a gesture from Admiral Takashi, the trap was sprung. Artificial singularities blinked into existence, their immense gravitational pull tearing apart the fabric of space-time. Council ships were drawn in, crushed, or flung into alternate dimensions. In the span of minutes, the battle was over. The few remaining Council ships, realizing the futility of their situation, powered down their weapons. High Admiral Zexnath, his flagship crippled and drifting, stared out at the debris field that had once been his mighty armada. How had it come to this? How had these humans, these primitives, achieved such complete victory? As if in answer to his unspoken question, a transmission came through on all frequencies. It was Ambassador Elena Reyes, her voice filled with steel and determination. Attention, Council forces. Your fleet is destroyed. Your invasion has failed. But this was just a taste of what humanity is capable of. Return to your worlds and deliver this message. The era of Council dominance is over. A new power has risen in the galaxy, and we will not be ignored or subjugated any longer. The choice is yours. Accept us as equals, or face extinction. We await your response. As the transmission ended, Zexnath realized that the galaxy had changed forever. The humans, once dismissed as barely sentient, had revealed themselves to be the most dangerous species in known space. The first strike had been delivered, and its echoes would reshape the cosmos for millennia to come.